Hi everyone. In this tutorial, I'll explain the basic Excel functions that are essential for data analysis. Using Excel spreadsheet, we'll explore how efficiently calculate the sum, average, maximum, minimum, and count of a dataset. To demonstrate these functions, I have the quarterly financial report of a company for 3 consecutive financial years. The data given is total quarterly income and total expense incurred by the company. So this data is available for 3 consecutive years. So this is 4 different quarters for the financial year 23-24. Similarly, I have the data for 2 more financial years. Suppose you need to find out the total income earned by the company in these 3 financial years. You can add this data that will give the total income for 3 financial years. To do that, you can press equal to. The function is sum. When you start typing, Excel indicate the formula by a drop-down menu. From there, you can select the appropriate function. So here I need to go for the sum. After double clicking, so you need to select the cells for which you require the total. So then after selecting the cells, you can close the bracket and press enter. So that will give the total. When you click on this in the formula bar, you can see the formula that is equal to sum D4 to D15. D4, this is column D and fourth row. So that is D4. This data is in the cell D4 and to D15. So D15 is this. So from D4 to D15, the entire data is summed up and given here. The sum will dynamically change. When the data entered in these cells changes, the sum also changes. Suppose this is instead of 146, you have 135.62. Then the sum also changes. So this sum is the summation of all the data entered in these 12 cells. Now you can also get this sum by just selecting this. You can select the auto sum, so you will get the sum here. So this is equivalent to applying the formula. So you are getting the formula applied there by clicking on the auto sum. Suppose you want the sum to be displayed somewhere here, then you can select this and click on auto sum. So you are getting the sum displayed here. But the problem in this case is if you add any data here in this empty cell, suppose I add 100 here, so sum will change and its data entered will get added to the sum. So this way, if you have empty cells here in between, so the data will automatically change. So it is not advisable to leave gaps here where you are not expecting any data. So it's better to place that sum immediately below this. So this is the problem if you go for auto sum. You have to place the sum immediately below the data. The other way of doing is wherever you want, suppose you want that sum to be displayed here, you can go for the formula, click there, double click there and equal to, you can type sum, okay, select sum from here, then select these cells where data is available, then press enter. So that will get the sum displayed there. So in that case, only when the data changes in these cells, the sum will change. So that is how you get the sum. So you can get the sum here by dragging it and placing the auto sum. And similarly, you can also find the sum here. Just select this. When you come to the last cell, you can click on auto sum. That will give the sum of this total expense. So in the 3 financial years, the company has earned so much, but the expense is so much. So the difference will be the profit. Now to find out the maximum out of this, for that you can use the max function. Click equal to, start typing max. Then you are getting that function displayed here. Click on this, select this set of data. What I'm going to do is out of this data, I'm going to pick the maximum using the formula. Press enter, you are getting the maximum. 224 is the maximum. This is out of all this data, this cell contains the maximum value. Now for some other cell, if you enter a larger data, automatically this will change and the maximum will be displayed, the data entered there. Now you can also get the same thing here, maximum out of this. So another way of doing is selecting the cell. You can see a small dark dot. Okay, when you move the mouse cursor, you can see that the mouse pointer changes into a cross. That is fill handle. So this is a fill handle. You can click there and drag to apply the formula to the right side cell. So when you drag it like this, whatever you applied here, when you move to the next cell, the same thing will be done for the next column. So from this set of data, maximum will be picked in that case. This way you can do the same thing. You can drag it towards right. Okay. So here you are putting the maximum. So I'm selecting the maximum and getting the maximum. Select it using the fill handle. Drag it towards right. You cannot fill downward like this because these are different functions. You cannot fill. Suppose same rule has to be applied downward, then it's okay. Here I need to find out the minimum. Out of this data, I am going to find the minimum. So you can use the minimum function. Minimum, select the set of data, press enter. So you are getting the minimum. So 112.54 is the minimum out of all these. Now you can drag it to the right cell. So here you are getting the minimum, that is 108.22 is the minimum. Now if you have to count the number of data available in these cells, so in this case you know that there are 12 set of data, so you can use the count function. So equal to count, you select these cells, press enter. So you are getting the count as 12. Now you can apply this to the right cell. Okay, there also you have 12 cells. You can see that formula 12, count of E4 to E15. E4 is this, E4 to E15, this is 15th row. So E4 to E15, you are getting the count of the set of data. Now suppose one of the data is deleted, the count will change. Another set of data is deleted, the count will decrease. So it is counting the number of sets of data available from E4 cell to E15 cell. Now to find out the average, you can use the average function equal to average. So you can go for the average. So you have to select all this data, press enter, you are getting the average. So 163.818 is the average for the 3 financial years. Quarterly income is so much. The same thing you can apply, you can fill it to the right side box. So average of this is 138.73. You can always ensure that formula average E4 to E15. Here it is average D4 to D15. So when you click on the cell, you can see that data got selected. So this formula is applied for this set of data. So its data is highlighted. Now suppose you want to find out the annual income for each financial year separately. So in that case, you can add this, that will give the total income for the financial year 23-24. I have given the title annual income and annual expense. So I'll find out the annual income for 23-24. Press equal to, you can go for the sum of these 4 cells you should take and press enter. So that will give the summation of this. You can see that sum of D4 to D7. Now the same thing you can drag it down, so that will apply the formula to the remaining column. Okay, so here you can see that D8 to D11, D8 to D11, and this is D12, this is D12 to D15. Now if you have to find out the annual expense is for the next total quarterly expense is there, annual expense is sum of this. So you can again type that sum of, then select these 4 cells. Instead you can apply the formula by just dragging that. So you are getting that 675. So you can see, ensure that the sum is for E4 to E7. E4 is this cell to E7. So you are getting sum of the quarterly expense. Now you can drag this formula down So that will give the quarterly expense for the remaining financial years. If you total this is each financial year income. So 3 financial year income is separately given. If you total this, you should get this. So you can total it. You can go for auto sum. It will give exactly the same value. Okay. Similarly, if you total it, you should get the same value, annual expense. Annual expense. Now maximum also you can pick maximum out of these three. That will give the maximum. Out of these three values, maximum is 798. Similarly, you can apply that formula by dragging it. Okay, you are getting the maximum out of these three, 675.2. Similarly, you can type minimum. You can also extend this formula to the right cell like this, dragging it. That is 516. You are getting the minimum, and 472 minimum out of these three. So you can see that formula. You can see the formula by clicking on this. By selecting that cell, you are seeing the formula. F4. F4 is this. Okay. F4 to F15. Out of these 12 cells, but these 4 cells are merged together. So here F4 to F15, you have only 3 sets of data. Out of that 3, the minimum value is displayed here. Similarly, this is G4 to G15 minimum value. Count will come as 3. If you extend this formula, you can drag it. You should get 3. Okay. Now you need to find out the average. Average you can find out by dragging it. Extend the formula. So you are getting the average of this. Average of these three annual income and average of 3 years annual expense. So I hope you understood how to find out the sum, average, and finding the maximum, minimum out of a given set of data and counting the data sets. Now I'll give another example. Here you have 10 students, marks for maths, physics, chemistry. To find out the average marks scored in mathematics, you can select the cell and type the formula equal to average. So you select the average function, select these cells and press enter. So you're getting the average marks scored in mathematics. Now this formula can be extended by dragging it. So I'm getting the average for physics and the average for chemistry. Here you can see that F4, this is cell F4, F column and fourth row. F4 to F13, this 13th cell. So it's average for F4 to F13. Similarly, you can see the formula. It is G4 to G13, average of G4 to G13. Now suppose you need to find out the total marks scored by a student with a serial number 1. So to find out the total, you can sum up these three. So you can type equal to, select sum, select these 3 cells. Okay, press enter. So that will give the sum of these 3 data. So it is sum of E4 to G4. Now after getting this, you can apply the formula by dragging it. So you're dragging it, it will apply the formula to the last cell, or you can also double click on this fill handle. Double click on the fill handle, that will apply the formula till the last row. So you are getting the sum of the marks scored by each student in these 3 subjects. So I hope you can find out the sum, average, and minimum, maximum, and count the data sets using the Excel functions. Thank you for watching.